What is up, YouTube? So this video is going to be my 1-year review of my 5th gen Ram. I've got a Ram 1500 with the 5.7, the e-torque, and I also have a rear axle ratio of 3.92. The trim on this one is going to be the limited Laramie Longhorn, so I believe that this is the top of the dog pile or whatever. So I guess I'll start with just kind of an overall review. I fell in love with the interior of the truck, and then once I test drove it, it was very comfortable, so I made it a priority and I got it, right? Now that I'm a year in, I will say that I'm very happy with the decision. That has never changed. I have had a few issues. My power running board, I drove this truck into the north and ice was on the running boards for long periods of time, and it ended up causing the motor for the power running boards to seize, and so I'm going to have to replace that at a cost of about $330 for the part, and it'll probably take me about an hour to do. I think if I went into the dealership, I'd be looking at about $1,000. So that is upsetting. I'm pretty disappointed in the power running boards for not being able to withstand that, but that is what it is. On the 2019, which is what I have, wireless CarPlay was not standard, okay? As a matter of fact, it wasn't even an option. So you have wired CarPlay, but you do not have wireless CarPlay. Now, I don't know if it was in 20, 21, or 22 where they made it so the if you got the 12-inch display, you got wireless CarPlay as well. So if that's important to you, make sure to check into that. I bought a wireless CarPlay adapter on Amazon that converted my wired CarPlay to wireless CarPlay, and it cost me about 75 bucks. I've been very happy with it, so not a big deal there. Fuel, miles per gallon, I would say that if I do a long trip, I average about 17.5. If I'm just kind of day-to-day driving, now I live in a big city, which is Dallas, and a lot of my driving does end up being on the highway. So I would say that most of the time when I refill the tank and I look down at the gas thing to see what I got, I would say I'm averaging about 15.25 to 15.5 for normal kind of city, highway, back and forth, right? I've been happy with that. I did notice that I had a pretty significant reduction in miles per gallon when I changed the tires out. So I had the original factory Ram tires. They were getting old. Took those out and put on some just normal touring tires. I didn't put on put on ridge grapplers or anything like that. But I did have a reduction. I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that the original had gotten a little bit bald, and so they had lower traction, lower rolling resistance, stuff like that. So good for helping me if I'm in rain or slippery surfaces, bad if I'm wanting good miles per gallon. If I had to do it again, I would probably do it exactly the same way, but it is just worth noting that there is a possibility that the original factory Ram tires did get better miles per gallon than a standard touring tire. Man, I will say, sitting on this seat, so before this I had a Dodge Charger that had like these seats that kind of like squeezed you, like racing seats. Terribly uncomfortable. These seats in here are very comfortable, and I will say that my last 3 cars all had ventilated seats, and the ventilation on the seats in this Ram 1500 is absolutely top-notch, man. You feel nice and cold even on a hot day in Texas. So very happy with that. The electronics, the 12-inch infotainment center, or whatever they call it, I'm very happy with it. It's easy to navigate, and haven't had any problems with that. I did have a problem, however. One night, I left some lights on inside the truck, okay? Go out, truck wouldn't start. All right, my fault, I get it. But I went out, I put my charger on the battery, and left it on there until the trickle charger eventually said 100%. Still wouldn't start. Took it into the dealership, all right, which was a big pain. I had to have it towed. The guy says, we'll look at it. They called me. They said, we got you all fixed up. I said, what'd you do? They said, well, we replaced your 48 volt battery. There's a small 48 volt battery behind the passenger seat, okay? And if you leave your lights on in the car overnight, it'll suck that thing fucking dry, all right? Ram didn't do any sort of cutoff after a period of time, nothing like that. So I was very disappointed in that. I was equally disappointed with the dealership for replacing the battery when it probably just needed to be charged. I don't know, maybe it aged out, but anyway, so that is one little note. The 3.92 gear ratio on the rear axle. This thing has got some good takeoff. Between the 5.7 and the better gears on the back, this thing takes off like a bat out of hell. I'm pretty happy with that. I also have the Ram box cargo, basically the side saddles on the box. Those really come in handy more than I had anticipated. If you're on the fence about that, I would definitely say, unless you're going to be hauling wide cargo, I would highly recommend getting that, because you got to realize that when you put those, when you have the Ram box, it subtracts the width of your pickup truck box by, I think, a 1.25 foot. You might want to look that up yourself, but it does subtract the width of the box significantly. But they are extremely useful for all kinds of little doodads that you just want to have access to quickly. You don't want to stick them inside the truck because it messes up the truck. Let's see here. Center console is nice and big and very functional. There's tons of plugs right under the radio, but there's also plugs inside the center console. Cup holders. Okay, now, I'm probably going to sound like a bitch saying this, but I do prefer a cup holder that accommodates a nice big giant, like let's say I'm going to get the 32 ounce at Sonic, whatever. These cup holders are crazy tight, and you're pulling it out and you're almost spilling your drink, okay? Not a big deal for most people, but for me, these are great for a lot of cans, but you'd be surprised how often it ends up being an issue. So, and they're super grippy, so your cup's not going to flip over from traffic. You could drive over all kinds of shit, right? But it's just pulling it out. If you've got a bigger jug in there or something, man, it is troublesome. Let's see what else we got in this thing. The quality of phone call on Bluetooth, very good. On my previous car, I'd have people all the time that could tell I was on Bluetooth, and I'm on the phone all day long. Been really happy with that. Let's see here. Stereo. I got the, what do you call it? The Harman Kardon 19 speaker. This thing is sweet. Definitely worth the money. There is absolutely no need for me to go into an audio store and upgrade the subwoofer or the mids or anything. I mean, it is beautiful. Very happy with the audio on here. Let's see here. You can probably hear that little tiny, maybe you can. I got a little bit of wind noise sometimes. I'm a little unhappy about that. On my passenger door, I went ahead and I bought some adhesive trim and just ran it around the inside because that one had gotten loud. And now it's whisper quiet, but I'm getting a little bit of whisper up here in the ceiling. So there is a little bit of trim sound issues that I'm not happy about. If you can fix that, it's probably not a deal breaker for you. But if you're not really a do-it-yourselfer, I imagine it'd be pretty expensive to go into the dealership and have them mess around with it. Let's see here. Went over the power running boards being an issue and seizing up already. Those power running boards, I got to tell you, if it's one of those features where you're like, should I have Ram do it or should I do it aftermarket? Do that thing aftermarket, because I like the idea of a fixed running board, and if you're going to get motorized ones, I like the idea of getting one where, you know, it's something that's been tested, it's something that's installed on a lot of vehicles, has a good warranty. I'm not happy about the Ram power running boards. Air suspension. So this one has the air ride suspension where it auto adjusts and stuff like that. Man, great feature. I could run over a goat with this truck and you'd barely even feel it. I mean, it's like I'm riding on marshmallows all day long. So if that's something you're looking for, I had a BMW with air ride suspension that I was happy with. This is a step up from this, and I'm talking about a BMW 760. This more than $100,000 car, and the air suspension on this is even more comfortable. And while we're talking about it, so I've had quite a few nice cars. Probably sound like a jackass saying that, but I'm sure anybody that's buying a almost $100,000 pickup has as well. I've test driven the Mercedes S550, the Audi A8, the BMW 760. I had one of those for years. The interior on this Ram and the ride quality on this Ram, in my opinion, is better than literally all of them. All of the flagships from all of the prestigious brands, this blows them out of the water. And plus, to boot, you're higher up in traffic. You know, it was a little bit of a delay for me to get a pickup truck for work, just because of the nature of the work that I do. So I do IT work, and some of the customers can be a little uppity, and so I wasn't sure if a pickup truck was going to send the wrong message professionally. But I gotta tell you, I think there's a lot of professional white collar guys that are driving pickups now, so I bought it, and I don't think it's that big of an issue. Let's see here. I don't think that there's really too much else to go over. Oh, the back seat on this thing is enormous. Like, until you actually sit back there. If you have kids, my oldest son is almost as big as me. I'm about 6'3", 205, and my oldest son is almost as big as me. And I mean, there's a full foot in front of his knees when he's sitting back there. Plus, the back seats recline. It's nuts. Now, they don't fully recline like you're, in a Lazy Boy or anything like that, but the back seats recline probably, I'm gonna guess, 20 degrees. When I've sat back there, and you could take a nice little nap. Plus, on top of that, this is one of the only vehicles, literally, including luxury vehicles, this is one of the only vehicles that you can get ventilated and heated seats in the back. That's bonkers. Heated seats, that's getting normal, right? But to get ventilated in the back, very abnormal. Plus, the back seat has got two areas where you can stow things under the floorboards by your passenger's feet, and they're good size. Like, you can stick all kinds of stuff in there, and you could have a nice tidy truck, but if you got stuff that you want to get at in the back seat, man, I gotta tell you, those floorboard areas probably have a little more storage than what would fit in, like, if you cut the top off of a gallon of milk, like those plastic milk jug containers. That's how much space there is. You can fit little things in there. Let's see here. The side mirrors on this thing, the mechanical side mirrors, are just a constant problem. Okay, they won't open right, won't close right. Not happy with that at all. Ram, you guys dropped the ball on those side mirrors. Listen, if you want to call me up, put a note below, fix these mirrors up for me. I'll tell the rest of the world you hooked me up. Maybe you do a recall for all of us. Let's see here. I went over electronics, heating, AC, the auto feature. So I don't know about you guys. Maybe you guys are constantly adjusting your heat and air conditioning. I don't. For years, I just set mine to 73, put it on auto, and I literally never touched the thing, right? The auto on this is really, really good. So, I mean, never messing with the heat, never messing with the cool. If I get in and it's freezing outside, this thing is blasting hot air. And if I get in and it's boiling hot outside, it's blasting cold air. And if it's somewhere in the middle, it figures it out. Very happy with the auto temperature sensing thing. Adaptive cruise. Okay. The adaptive cruise on here works as well as any of the rest of them. You can pick the distance between you and the other guy. Otherwise, and you can set your speed. In addition to the adaptive cruise, something that I never ever thought of, and that is the lane assist. So the lane assist on this truck will keep you in your lane 3 times before disabling. And let me tell you why that's cool. Sometimes you set that adaptive cruise and maybe you get distracted by something. Maybe you're talking to one of your kids, the wife's bothering you, whatever, okay? If you start to go out of your lane, this steering wheel will pull you back in. It doesn't just have a little chirping noise. It actually pulls you back into your lane. Now, when it does that, it does also alert you and says, lane assist, whatever, I'm keeping you in your lane. Now, it'll do that 3 times. On the 3rd time, it'll beep and it'll tell you lane assist disabled, keep your hands on the wheel, pay attention, that type of thing. So it's not a full-blown autopilot Tesla type deal, right? But you can definitely be quite a bit distracted and still, between the adaptive cruise keeping you from running into the guy in front of you and the lane assist keeping you in your lane, it's kind of like a discount autopilot, right? It does a really, really good job. The self-parking feature. So it's got a self-parking parallel park thing, right? And I've done it 2 or 3 times, and I'm an IT guy, but I gotta tell you, it's easier just for me to parallel park. Now, if you're somebody that's really, really bad at parking, you're probably gonna like it. But for me to parallel park a car takes me 30 seconds, 40 seconds if I'm in a bad situation. Using the auto self parallel park thing on here, man, it takes like 2 full minutes. And you have to be on the gas and brake, okay? So one thing you got to keep in mind is you're not fully dialed out on this thing, all right? If you just let it rip, you're going to hit a car, all right? It'll steer it, but you're going to ram into a car at some point. So that's the self-parking thing. I have another video, and it's 6 things I hate about my Ram, okay? I would highly recommend you guys watch that. One of the things that I point out in that video is the steering wheel on this. If you turn the heated steering wheel on this Ram 1500 Limited on, it takes about 5 minutes, but it is painful, and you end up kind of holding the wheel tentatively until it cools down. So what I will typically do is when I turn it on, I'm kind of just waiting until my hand gets comfortable, and then I make it a priority to turn it off, because it's surprising how hot it is. Ask any Ram owner, by the way. If you think I'm just a Nancy, ask any Ram owner what they think of this heated steering wheel. I mean, you could cook an egg on this thing. Let's see here. What else is there? The sunroof. I gotta tell you, it's a beautiful sunroof, and I think that if you're trying to impress someone, it's top notch. It's definitely one of the best in the world. The thing is enormous, right? It's almost the whole damn ceiling. I don't use it though. It's just not my thing. But as far as how well they did it, they probably executed that sunroof better than just about any vehicle on the market. I mean, it'll open, you can open it halfway, or you can open it all the way. Man, just the quality of this interior, the wood on the dash, okay? Each piece of wood is distressed individually. This isn't made on a mill, okay? And then on top of that, one of the things that you might not have noticed, you might not know about, but if you get this Laramie Longhorn trim, the wood is branded with an actual brand. So it's this beautiful piece of wood in the dash over here on the passenger side, and you can tell that somebody took this thing, they spent time chiseling at it, distressing the wood, and then they took an actual brand and branded it, and then they put it on here. I can't imagine. I would have to guess that 2 out of 3 of these things probably get jacked up in the process of trying to fabricate it. So and then the metal, okay, so this is another thing that you don't notice when you're shopping these things, but once you own the truck, you notice all of the shiny surfaces are real metal, okay? And not only are they real metal, but they have etching in them that's just beautiful. The detail is so above board, okay? The leather on the dash, if it is gonna fade, peel, crack, it's gonna take a long time, because when you feel it, you can feel it's thick leather, like the type of leather that you've got on your baseball glove. You know, this isn't like a thin layer of pleather. This stuff is just thick. Everything, the stitching on the oh shit handle, I mean, you name it. It does not end. I could sit in I've owned this truck for a full year, and to this day, I still notice just beautiful features. I'll probably own this truck for 20, 30 years. The only thing that I plan on changing at any time is I will probably take it to a really top of the line upholster, and I will replace the fabric headliner with a suede headliner. But that is really the only place for improvement. By the way, Ram, if you guys are watching this, don't assume anything about your customers. Your customers will pay extra for a suede headliner. They will. The customer base for $100,000 pickup is there. It's strong. And I got tons of friends that are buying fancy pickups. And I think that the automotive world is really missing opportunities by building all these cheap pickup trucks with plastic and shit like that. There's a lot of guys out there with much deeper pockets than mine that are excited about getting a pickup truck that checks off all the boxes. Let's see here. So I went over engine, suspension, electronics, heating, cooling, the entertainment, the stereo, the luxury of the interior. What else we got? I will say, I think it's a big flop on Ram's part to put the absolute sexiest grills on the cheaper pickups, because I've got the limited Laramie Longhorn, whatever it's called, great truck, okay, but I am constantly jealous of that, the grill on the Rebel. And I mean, that pickup truck sells for half as much, but that is the better grill, okay? Anybody with a Ram knows it. And I believe that the TRX grill looks way closer to the Rebel than it looks to the limited Laramie Longhorn, whatever. So I will say, Ram, I think it's time for you guys to start looking at making that TRX and the Rebel grill the norm. Also, man, my brother-in-law has got that hood with the I think they call it a sport hood. By the way, if you're shopping Rams right now, make sure you consider that sport hood, because that thing is dead sexy. And I don't have it on this one. That's okay. But I will say that, man, I don't think anybody did a hood better than that sport hood that you can get on a lot of the Rams right now as an upgrade. So that's not a standard feature. I don't even know if you can get that. It might even be an aftermarket. I don't know. But man, that sport hood is attractive. It looks like a Viper hood or something. Let's see here. I've got the tonneau cover that was factory from Ram. I'm pretty happy with it. It's probably similar to if you got one aftermarket for $600 or $700, but it's good, no problems. The truck doesn't come with any sort of tow hitch or anything like that, which I'm sure is standard. I added one on there. I don't know why they don't make that standard. If you've got a truck, you're probably going to want to pull something at some point. Let's see here. Haven't had any problems with the 4x4 feature, switching it in and out. I can switch it on the fly while I'm driving. I don't have to stop the truck, nothing weird like that. Let's see here. I think, guys, that I have probably said everything I'm gonna say. I'd be amazed if you guys are still watching this video. I know that I probably could have been a little more organized, so I'm gonna apologize for that. If you do have any questions about the truck, let me know. I'd be glad to come outside, take a look at the truck, answer your questions. If you need me to post a picture in the links below, I don't know if YouTube allows that, but I'll do my best to help you out. Love the Ram, couldn't recommend it more, and I test drove everything, by the way. Silverado, GMC Sierra, Ford. Ford, man, they dropped the ball, man. The interiors on those things are bad. Doesn't matter how much you spend on a Ford, you can't get anything really, really top of the line. Don't regret this truck at all. You won't regret the truck at all. Break the piggy bank, buy the truck. Have a good day, guys.